All right. Hello, hello, everyone. Hello, high level listeners. Welcome to episode 17 of our Advanced English podcast at High Level Listening. In today's episode, we're exploring the topic of feeling sick, feeling ill, or feeling under the weather. We'll be giving you natural conversational vocabulary and expressions in both American and British English with 100% real, not AI, English teachers. Before we go ahead and get started, my name is Kat. I'm a teacher and I'm originally from the United States, and I'll be sharing my American accent, vocabulary, and phrases.
And I'm Mark, the British voice here on High Level Listening. So with our different backgrounds, we'll be able to give you a side-by-side comparison of the English language from both the American and British perspectives.
And as a quick reminder, if you'd like to take your studying to the next level, we have PDF transcripts available for all high-level listening members. Just head over to the memberships tab, join as a high-level listener, and you'll get hundreds of pages of every single word with every single episode.
In this episode, as per usual, we'll read a script about today's topic, which is feeling sick or feeling ill. My script will be more in the British style, with common expressions and phrases you're likely to hear in the UK, and then Kat's version will lean more towards the American style. So it'll be a great side-by-side look at American and British accents and vocabulary.
Then, after we've read through both of our scripts, we'll break down each sentence and phrase so that you can fully understand each phrase and feel more confident using them in your next conversation. We love to hear from you guys, so after you watch this episode, feel free to send us a comment down below using the new phrases from this episode, or just to say hi, and we'll continue making lots of fun episodes for you guys, and we like to comment and reply to each one.
Okay, let's get started. I'll start by asking Kat the question. What usually happens when you feel sick?
When I'm on the verge of getting sick, I immediately try to get ahead of it and nip it in the bud. The minute I start to feel a bit off, a headache, a bit of a sore throat, I'm grabbing those vitamins and tea with lemon to try to ward off the worst of it. Oftentimes I get lucky. Maybe it's just a 24-hour bug and I'm back to feeling myself. But sometimes the over-the-counter stuff just isn't enough, and I'll have to drag myself out to a doctor's appointment to get a prescription for something stronger. After I'm laid up in bed for a few days, just trying not to feel sorry for myself, I gradually start feeling better until I'm back to 100% again, and I'm back on my feet. All right, so because I'm the American voice here, that was kind of my American style. Mark is going to pretty much say just about the same thing, but he's going to give us his British perspective and his British expressions. So, Mark, what usually happens when you feel sick?
As soon as I sense I'm coming down with something, I try to tackle it head on. I'll try to take it easy and try some simple home remedies. Hot soups, plenty of fluids, and rest. But sometimes, despite my best efforts, I end up feeling really sick, stuck in bed like I've been hit by a bus. That's when I resort to stronger medication, like popping pills or something to really knock the illness on its head. That usually does the trick. Slowly but surely, I start to feel a bit more like myself each day. The journey from being bedridden to feeling well again isn't quick, but once I'm back on my feet and feeling 100% again, I really appreciate being healthy and active.
Definitely. Now, when we started to figure out what to do for today's episode, the thought of getting sick, there's so much good vocabulary, honestly. I would say for the most part, Mark and I did feel like most of the things that Mark said, I would also say in an American accent and similarly. But now what we're going to do is go through each phrase and each expression, and we'll let you know exactly who says what and why we say it. So I'll go ahead and start with you, Mark. What do you do when you first notice that you're feeling unwell?
As soon as I sense I'm coming down with something, I try to tackle it head on. So we have our first sickness phrase. I'm coming down with something. This is another way to say that I'm starting to feel unwell. Like sometimes it takes 1 or 2 days for you to feel really sick. And the first few hours or the first morning, you feel a bit less energy. I feel a bit less healthy. I can feel a bit of a headache, or I can feel something in my throat, but I don't quite know what it is yet. I'm coming down with something. It could be a cold, it could be a bug, it could be COVID or something, but there is something and I'm not feeling well. I'm coming down with something. So if you're not feeling great, you can say this to your friends. I think I'm coming down with something. It means I'm not super sick yet, but I feel like I'm going to get worse from here, but I don't know exactly what's wrong right now. So as soon as I sense I'm coming down with something, I try to tackle it head on. Tackle, literally, if you're watching a sport like rugby or football, they tackle the players, like physically jump at them. But we also use this word if you're solving a problem. If you want to fix a problem or solve a problem, or in this case, stop feeling sick, I want to tackle my sickness. In this case, tackling the problem is stopping it before it gets worse. And that might mean some of the remedies and the medicine that we'll talk about later. Last little phrase, head on. Tackle it head on means do it quickly. I don't want to feel sick. I've got work, I've got kids, I've got family, I've got so much to do. I don't have time to be sick. I want to handle this and solve this straight away. So maybe as soon as I feel a sore throat, I drink some honey or take a throat lozenge. I don't wait. I try and tackle it head on. So how about you, Kat? When you first notice you're starting to feel unwell, what do you normally do?
When I'm on the verge of getting sick, I immediately try to get ahead of it and nip it in the bud. All of these are such great phrases. Everything that Mark said, coming down with something, tackle it head on. We absolutely use those in American English as well. When I'm on the verge of getting sick is similar to when I'm coming down with something. It's that feeling that something is wrong when I'm on the verge of getting sick. So on the verge of something means that you are close to doing something. On the verge of getting sick. I'm not quite sick yet, but I'm definitely on the verge of getting sick. On the verge of crying means I'm not crying yet, but I might be soon. I'm on the verge of crying. Or in a positive way, you could be on the verge of success. You're really close. You're almost there. So on the verge of getting sick, I'm really close to getting sick. Like Mark said, just something. Maybe I'm a little warm. Maybe I'm a little low energy. Maybe I feel a little hot, my sore throat. I immediately try to get ahead of it, to get ahead of something. To get ahead of something is to beat it, is to try to win over something. So if I want to get ahead of it, I want to solve the problem before it becomes a problem. Sort of be a little proactive, definitely. If you want to get ahead of something, I would feel proactive. Whoa. Am I feeling sick? Ooh, I better not be getting sick. Let's get ahead of it. And nip it in the bud. Nip it in the bud. So to nip something is to kind of bite or take it quickly. Nip it in the bud. And this phrase comes from gardening. A bud is before the flower blooms. It is a tiny, tiny piece called a bud. You can see it when the flower is growing. And if you don't want it to grow anymore, you nip it. Snip it, and then in this case, nip it. Nip it in the bud. And so this is a phrase which is very similar to tackle it head on. Nip it in the bud means to put a quick end to something so it won't continue. Tackle it head on, nip it in the bud, get ahead of it.
Right.
These are all problem solving words for sure.
Sure. You might hear these phrases in an office. We need to tackle this problem. We need to nip this problem in the bud before it gets worse. Nip it in the bud was good. I actually saw that in your script and I was like, I wanted to use that one. So I had to think of another one. But yeah, I would have said, nip it in the bud.
This is one of the first ones where we're both very naturally using our phrases, and we use a lot of these both in American English and British English. So really great vocabulary here. Let's continue on to the next one. What kind of medicine or remedies do you try?
I'll try to take it easy and try some simple home remedies. Hot soups, plenty of fluids, and rest. So, at the moment, I'm not completely sick yet. I still think I can tackle this. I still think I can beat this illness and avoid taking a day off work or avoid getting sick. And I'll try to do that by some home remedies. Remedies is a word for cures or treatments, and specifically these are things that you can make at home. There might be some ingredients in the kitchen or some ingredients in the fridge that you have, and if you mix them together you can make something that makes you feel better, and that would be a home remedy. Home remedies are not like powerful pills or prescription medicine, but they're cheap, sometimes they're free, and they can help things like a sore throat. For example, a home remedy for a sore throat would be honey and lemon tea. You can mix that, drink it, and that's nice and soothing. Or if you have sore muscles or something, a home remedy I used recently was rice inside a sock. You put the sock and the rice in the microwave, and then it's this hot pack, and you can put it on the muscle. That's a home remedy as well. So this is a treatment or a little thing that you make to help yourself feel better. In my script, I also mentioned hot soups. That could be a remedy. Fluids. Fluids is the medical word for water. And maybe some drink with electrolytes or any kind of healthy liquid. Fluids. Your doctor will tell you to drink plenty of fluids. That's just a healthy thing to do. So the home remedies might help me tackle it, and then I'll take it easy. Take it easy means don't do anything that's physically difficult or physically hard. So no running, no gym, even lifting heavy shopping bags. Even that I would avoid because I want to take it easy. Move slowly, do everything slowly. Just take it easy. That's another thing a doctor might say. Take it easy and drink plenty of fluids. So that's what I try first. How about yourself? Do you have any special medicines or remedies that you try?
So the minute I start to feel a bit off, a headache, bit of a sore throat, I'm grabbing those vitamins and tea with lemon to try to ward off the worst of it. So the minute or the moment I start to feel a bit off, maybe after my nap, I'm still feeling a bit tired, or I wake up in the middle of the night and my throat is kind of dry. Just something suspicious. Like, I'm not really feeling all right. I feel a bit off. That is the simplest way to say something, even the tiniest bit, something is wrong. But if I say something's wrong, you might think that's kind of serious. So you're like, no, I just feel a bit off. Maybe I'm tired. Maybe I'm nervous. Maybe I'm upset. Maybe I'm sad. Maybe I'm sick. Just feeling a bit off. And if I have a sore throat is when you have a light pain in your throat. Sometimes it's difficult to swallow. Sometimes you might feel, oh, my throat is sore. It's sore. Now, Americans love vitamins and supplements. I don't know any other people in the world who love vitamins and supplements as much as Americans do. So one of my remedies is usually popping some vitamin C, popping some immune support supplements, popping some herbs and pills with vitamins and supplements in them. That would be my go-to for sure. That would be the first thing that I would do. And I would usually do this, have some tea with lemon, tea with honey. I think that's a pretty traditional remedy that most people will do around the world. And I'll do this to try to ward off the worst of it. Ward off the worst of it. So to ward something off is to protect against something bad. Okay, so your wards are your protection, right? So if I'm trying to ward, W-A-R-D, word, W-O-R-D, ward off the worst of it. Ward off the worst of it. Okay, so if I'm trying to ward this off, that means I feel the symptoms, I feel the signs of an illness, maybe headache, sore throat, and I want to try to support and protect my body from getting too sick. Okay, so I'm just saying, no, I can't get sick. Just like Mark said, I can't miss work. My family depends on me. I really don't have time to be sick in bed this weekend. I have stuff to do, so I'm going to try to ward off getting properly sick.
Right, I like that bit of your script. I'm grabbing those vitamins. Or I would say this is maybe the biggest difference in today's episode is I say vitamins.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm British, I say
you're
vitamins. Yeah.
Vitamins. 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 Vitamins.
Vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D. Yep. All of them. You go to a pharmacy and ask for vitamins. But yeah, I remember having American colleagues, and on all of their tables, they had little pots of vitamins and pills. I thought they were sick all the time, but maybe they just have them normally. No. They take one throughout the day or take a range of different pills. I was kind of surprised. My desk was empty and theirs was covered in pill bottles. I remember being quite surprised by that.
I think a lot of people think that Americans, love our drugs, but in reality, we love our vitamins. Our vitamins are a really important part of our daily routine, for sure. Americans love their vitamins.
Right.
All right, so let's continue on. Now, those home remedies, does that always work?
Not always. Sometimes, despite my best efforts, I end up feeling really sick. Stuck in bed, feeling like I've been hit by a bus.
Ooh, that's rough. That's rough.
Yeah, it sounds pretty bad. It feels quite bad as well. We'll start at the beginning. Despite my best efforts. My best efforts in this script are my home remedies. I tried the honey and lemon. I tried some hot soup. I tried drinking lots of hot water or lots of fluids, but it didn't work. So despite my best efforts is even though I tried some home remedies, I end up feeling really sick. I end up is not part of my plan. I didn't want to be sick, but I ended up feeling sick. I wanted to go to work. I wanted to meet my friends, but I ended up catching something. So it wasn't part of my plan, but sometimes I end up feeling sick and stuck in bed. If I'm stuck in bed, I can't get out of bed. I don't have the energy. I don't have the strength. It hurts more when I sit up, or walking around for 5 minutes takes away all my energy. I can't move. I definitely can't work. I can't get out of bed. I'm stuck in bed. And I chose this phrase because I've heard this from my friends. I feel like I've been hit by a bus.
That's really rough. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite dramatic, this one. But it sounds like, I was crossing the street and a bus came and hit me. It's not like I broke bones, and I don't have like injuries, but everything hurts. It hurts to lift my arm. It hurts to even like pick up my cup of tea. It hurts to turn my neck. Everything is sore. And so I feel like I've been hit by a bus. This is quite a fixed phrase. I would never say to someone that they look like they got hit by a bus. Only feel like. I think if I said you look like it, you would be quite offended. That would be pretty rude. But people say this about themselves when they're feeling really sore and stiff and achy. Everything aches. It hurts to even move your fingers. I feel like I've been hit by a bus. So that's a nice British phrase you can use, and you'll get a lot of sympathy from your British friends if you drop in that phrase. Is that one in the States, or is that?
Yeah, I've definitely heard it before. You'd have to be quite sick to feel like that, definitely, but for sure.
Okay, so you've tried your remedies, your vitamins. What if they don't work, or what happens if they don't work?
So oftentimes I get lucky. Maybe it's just a 24-hour bug and I'm back to feeling myself, but sometimes the over-the-counter stuff just isn't enough. So oftentimes, more often than sometimes, oftentimes I get lucky. Maybe it's just a 24-hour bug. This is a very common phrase for when you're sick, but for just a day. So a 24-hour bug, it's not too serious, and you don't really know what it was because you didn't even really have time to get to the doctor. So we have a couple of parts here. A bug. Mark said this earlier. If you have a cold, the flu, COVID, or a bug. A bug is just when we don't really know what we're sick with. It could be kind of a headache, fever, sore throat. Is it a cold? I don't know. Is it the flu? I'm not sure. I didn't have time to get to the doctor for them to tell me what I have. So it's a bug. Often we hear this in kind of another phrase. Oh, I think I caught a bug from school. There's a bug going around the office. Now, it's not literally, this is also a word for an insect, something creepy crawling around, but you can kind of think of it as maybe like a virus or, some bacteria that's in your body. It's a bug. It's a bug. Sometimes people have a stomach bug where they have a really hurt stomach for 24 hours. So it's just a 24-hour bug. I'm feeling better now. I don't even need to go to the doctor. So then...
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes?
I think it's a more friendly word, and I think it's a less scary word. So we also use it with kids. My mum always used to say, I have a tummy bug. Or if she was taking care of me when I was a kid, Mark can't come to school today. He's got a tummy bug. So saying that to kids, it makes being sick sound less scary. Like saying, I'm sick or have an infection. Yeah, right. A bug sounds a bit more playful and a bit less scary. So if you're talking to kids, you can say they've got a bug. And that, I don't know, it makes being sick feel a bit less scary or a bit less intense. So you'll say it to kids as well.
I think that's true in general. I think a lot of times when we talk about being sick and being ill, we often use different words like under the weather. I've got a bug. Especially Americans, we really don't like to talk about being sick. So we're very vague. We don't tell you very much information about how sick we are. Just, I'm laid up in bed with a bug. I won't ask you any more questions about that because that's very personal, especially for Americans. So I think, feeling under the weather, anything to not say I'm sick, I'm ill, because I think we look very negatively at feeling ill. So we just don't say it. We pretend we're not. Oh, it's just a bug. Oh, I'm sure it's just a bug. Nothing's too serious, right?
Right. Yeah, it's quite a vulnerable state to be in when you're sick. You are quite helpless, and some people don't like to share those moments with others.
Yes.
So they'll talk about being ill very quickly, and you shouldn't ask too many questions. If you're talking to an American or a Brit and they felt sick, you're not expected to ask too much about what happened to them, because they probably don't want to tell you.
I remember the first time my Korean boss, she asked me, she's like, "Oh, you look really sick today." And I said, "Oh,
Do I?
sorry." She goes, "No, no, no. I'm worried about you. I care about you. That's why I said that." And I was like, "Oh, in English, we don't really say that to people." You look sick today. You look really ill. It's just not something we like to bring up. We like to kind of hide it, and we like to act like it's not very serious. That's why we often go to work sick and looking ill, but it's probably not the best idea to tell somebody that they are looking ill.
Yes. I know it comes from a caring place, but it's a different way. Sorry.
It does. It's
Carry on.
definitely a different culture for sure. So, a couple of other things. Sometimes the over-the-counter stuff just isn't enough. The over-the-counter stuff. Over-the-counter, or OTC, over-the-counter medication, over-the-counter drops, over-the-counter medicine. This is called OTC, and these are drugs or medications that are available at the pharmacy without a prescription. This means you don't have to visit a doctor. You can simply walk into one of the thousands of pharmacies available in the US, walk in, buy something that you might need, like headache pills, eye drops, nasal spray, liquids for your throat. Mark was mentioning throat lozenges, something to soothe your sore throat. These are all over the counter, which means that you do not need to speak to a pharmacist. You do not need to speak to a doctor to get these items from your pharmacy. All right, so if the over-the-counter stuff isn't cutting it, what kind of... Oops, that's not the right question. What do you do then? What do you do then after that?
Right, yeah, if my home remedies aren't working, that's when I resort to stronger medication. Popping pills, something to really knock the illness on its head, that usually does the trick. So, I've tried my home remedies. I've tried hot soups, fluids, but that hasn't worked. So I resort to stronger medication. I resort to is a verb that means I decide to, or I try to do something as the next step, like a stronger action or a stronger decision. So I tried home remedies, didn't work. So I have no choice. I feel like the only next step is more medicine or stronger stuff. So I resort to stronger medication because I feel like that's my only choice now.
Yeah.
So yes, Kat mentioned this phrase earlier, popping pills. To pop a pill is a phrase that I think we only use with pills. It's taking a pill. It's putting a pill in your mouth and swallowing it. But popping it is doing it quite quickly, casually, or taking quite a lot of different pills. You might read the box and say, okay, I can take one of these every 3 hours. So every 3 hours, I'm taking another pill. Or maybe I've got 4 different pills on the bedside table and I'm combining them and using all of them. So popping pills is a verb you can only use with pills. Usually the collocation is take. You take medicine, take pills. That's totally correct. But you can also say pop pills, especially if you're taking lots of different medicines because you're really trying to beat this sickness as fast as you can. So hopefully by popping pills of the stronger medication, I can knock the illness on its head. In other words, I can stop it. And I can stop it with some power, with some force. This strong medicine is going to beat the virus, knock it on its head. A strong dose will knock it on its head. Strong painkillers will knock the pain on its head. Or maybe a combination of different pills and medicines will knock it on its head and stop it. So especially if you're talking about illness, but also any problem, you can knock the problem on its head, and you will stop the problem using some kind of force or strong way, strong solution. Again, is this an American phrase as well?
I think that phrase is going to be more British. I definitely understand what you mean by it. I've heard it, but I don't hear it as often on the American side.
Okay, fair enough. So how about you? What do you do with your stronger, or if your OTC stuff doesn't work, what do you do then?
So if the over-the-counter stuff just isn't enough, I'll have to drag myself out to a doctor's appointment to get a prescription for something stronger. So I'll have to drag myself out to a doctor's appointment. So I'll have to make the appointment, and then I have to physically go. At this point, though, I am probably very sick in bed, so I'll have to drag myself out. Now, if you are dragging someone out, it's usually because they don't want to go. I have to drag my friend to the restaurant because she never eats out. She never wants to go out. So I had to drag her out. Now, if you're very sick or if your kids don't want to get out of bed in the morning, you might have to drag them out of bed. Now, it's not physically, not all the time anyway, not physically dragging them out of bed, but you really have to convince them. Hey, come on, you really got to get out of bed. Can you please get out of bed? Come on, it's time for school. Look, if you don't get up, you're going to be late. So then eventually drag myself out of bed. So I'm feeling pretty sick. I'm not feeling great, but I'm going to drag myself out of bed and go to my doctor's appointment to get a prescription for something stronger. Normally, the over-the-counter medications, they're not going to be the strongest type of medicine. They're not going to be the strongest type of medication simply because they are easily available to anyone who wants them. So if you do have a severe or serious illness, you're going to have to go to a doctor's appointment. Now, in America, you have to get a prescription from a doctor. Now, there are a couple of people who can write you a prescription, but what they'll do is they will write you a prescription. Then you will take that information to the pharmacist. The pharmacist is the person at the pharmacy who is behind the counter, and you give them your prescription. They are the only ones who have access to the very high dosages, the very high doses of medication, and they will give you the amount of medicine that you need, tell you how to use it. Hopefully you can drag yourself back home, get back in bed, start popping those pills, and start to feel better. Okay, so here we go. What happens next?
So I've got my stronger medicine finally to help me out. Slowly but surely, I start feeling a bit more like myself each day. So this is the part where I'm slowly starting to get better. I'm slowly starting to recover. There's a nice phrase at the start, slowly but surely.
Mm-hmm.
Slowly but surely, slowly, bit by bit, little by little. The first day is a bit difficult, then the next day is a little bit better. I feel a bit stronger. The next day, I feel less pain and I feel quite good. So slowly but surely, I improve. Slowly but surely, my strength comes back. Or slowly but surely, I'll become more mobile. And then
I want to note
hopefully...
Yes. Yeah. I want to note the pronunciation because I say slowly but surely. Surely. And you say surely.
Slowly but surely.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And I say sure. Sure.
Right. It's the same word, S-U-R-E. Like, yeah, sure. Sure. The same word like the seashore, or she sells seashells by the sea. Shore.
And I say shore. Seashore.
Yeah. But then if I'm like, yes, sure.
I say, yeah, sure.
Okay, right. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, British has two words, the same pronunciation. Shore and the sea shore. and then American has two pronunciations of two different words.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That's how the world works.
Well, that's how America
Sure
works.
and sure.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, this is like,
Sure.
oh yeah. Well, this is a rabbit hole. But yeah, slowly but surely, I start to feel more like myself. So we're getting better, and I don't feel so sick. I start to feel more like myself. That means I'm starting to feel well again. I finally feel like myself. I'm not tired. I'm not lethargic. I'm not like dizzy. Now I feel awake. I have more energy. I feel better. You know, when I was in bed, yeah, I wasn't myself. Now I'm healthy again. I feel more like myself. This is a phrase you can use when you come back to work or when you see your friends after being sick for a few days. They say, "Oh, how are you doing? Are you feeling better?" Say, "Yeah, I feel more like myself." So that means I'm recovering. There's still maybe a little bit more to go, but I'm feeling much better than I was. I feel more like myself now. Okay, so you go to the doctor, you get your prescription. What happens next?
After I'm laid up in bed for a few days, just trying not to feel sorry for myself. We're going to split this sentence in two because there's a lot going on. After I'm laid up in bed for a few days, I remember asking Mark, have you heard that? After you've been laid up in bed, after you've laid up in bed? And he's like, what do you mean? Like sat up in bed? Like, no. So in American, kind of an informal phrase, if you are laid up or if you have been laid up in bed, LAIDUP, laid up, that means that you were so ill that you were stuck in bed with no choice but to stay in bed. I broke my leg, so I was laid up in bed for 3 weeks. I was so sick, I was laid up in bed for 3 whole days. I had no choice but to stay in bed. I was absolutely laid up. And I thought this was kind of a fun phrase. Yes, it's informal, but it's not considered rude. So I would definitely use it with friends or colleagues at work if I'm close to them, but I probably wouldn't write it in an email to my boss. I would say, I'm stuck in bed. I'm laid up in bed. But also, I think it's a good phrase to know that you are really sick. I mean, if you are laid up, you are really ill and you can't leave your bed. So it does have definitely its moments, and it has a really good explanation of just how sick you are. So I'm just trying not to feel sorry for myself. Oh man, feeling sorry for yourself is just when you think, oh, why me? Why am I sick? I had a lot of things to do. Why me? Poor me. I'm sad. This is just awful. That is feeling sorry for yourself. You know, it's that point where you're feeling, I just want to be out of bed. Come on. I'm so over this. Please let me get better.
It's not fair.
Yeah, it's not fair. Life is not fair. And so you are feeling sorry for yourself. Feeling sorry for yourself. You are really just feeling sad that everything happened to you and you just want to be better. So after I'm laid up in bed for a few days, just trying not to feel sorry for myself, I gradually start feeling better. So we'll talk about that in a second. How do you feel when you're finally recovered, Mark?
The journey from being bedridden to feeling well isn't quick, but once I'm back on my feet and feeling 100% again, I really appreciate being healthy and active. So the short answer is I really appreciate when I'm recovered. When I have recovered and I'm okay again, I really appreciate it. Just doing simple things like picking up things or bending my fingers and they don't hurt. That feels great all of a sudden. There's a few phrases in the last section of mine. The journey from being bedridden to feeling well. Bedridden is quite an old-fashioned word, but you do still hear it again, if you're really sick and you're stuck in bed, you can't get out of bed, you are bedridden. Maybe I'm completely bedridden. Someone has to bring me food and bring me my medicine to the room because I can't even go to the kitchen. I definitely can't handle any stairs. I'm bedridden. So everything needs to be brought to me. If it's not within arm's reach, I'm not touching it, or I can't get it. So if it's my phone charger or the TV remote, I'm bedridden. I can't get it. So bedridden is the most sick, the sickest part. You can't even get out of bed. But once I'm back on my feet, I think we both use this
Yeah,
phrase.
we did.
Back on my feet. So you can imagine someone standing up, getting out of bed, and then standing up on their own for the first time in a while. It means I'm well again. I'm back on my feet. I have more energy, and I'm also more independent now. I can walk around. I can make food. I can feed myself. I am independent. Nobody else has to take care of me now. I'm back on my feet. Don't worry about me. Don't bring me anything. I can do it. I'm back on my feet. And I'm feeling 100% again. Again, Kat will use this phrase too. There's a bit of overlap here. Feeling 100% is feeling totally fine. Like healthy, like normal. I don't have a headache. Nothing hurts. I can swallow and it's fine. I am back to 100%. So if you are still a little bit sick, you've had a couple of days off work, and on the third day you feel well enough to go to work, you can still say to your colleagues, yeah, I'm not back to 100%, but I'm feeling better than yesterday. So sometimes you can still go to work, you can still drive, do the school run without feeling perfectly healthy, but you're well enough to do it. I often use the phrase, I'm not back to 100% yet. So, lastly for Kat, what do you do or how do you feel when you've finally recovered?
So I gradually start feeling better until I'm back to 100% again, and I'm back on my feet. So we used basically the same phrases. Back on my feet. We can also use this phrase too if you are kind of, especially if you come back from vacation and, you know, that first day back, you're just kind of like, oh, I'm a little bit confused. Well, I wish that this was a little bit easier. It seems like I've forgotten how to do my job. And then, you know, day 2, day 3, you're definitely back on your feet. You're back to normal. So we can use that phrase for work as well, not just feeling back on your feet, getting back on your feet after something bad happened to you, after you had a health issue, after feeling sick. And gradually, so I want to say the word gradually, but I think when I say it more naturally in English, I say gradually. That DU turns into a J. Gradually, especially when I'm talking quite quickly. Do you agree, Mark?
Same. Gradually. Yep. Gradually.
Yeah.
DU, J, like duo, duet, gradual. Gradually.
Yeah.
Are you okay? Oh no,
Sorry.
she's coming down with something.
Oh no, I'm on the verge.
You need to pop some pills. Give you some home remedies.
I'm okay.
Okay, you're right.
We're definitely keeping that in the video.
How appropriate. Well, you've got a tickly cough.
I hope I'm not coming down with something. That would really suck.
That would be ironic.
I can't. It's just talking about it. Talking about feeling sick means you're going to get sick. I think we've jinxed it.
Like
all right, before I actually get full on sick, let's see. Back to 100%. Back to 100%. That's exactly what Mark said. I think back to 100% would be ideal to say, but I kind of naturally say back to 100%. Back to 100%. I don't know if it's more American or if it's from the South of the United States where I'm from, 100 often turns into 100. 100. I know it's not the nicest thing. It's not the nicest part of our language, but it is very common. 100, 101, 102. And if I was really from the South, 100, 101, 100, 102, 103. So 100 is a very southern way in the United States. If you're in Texas, if you're kind of in the south part of the United States, you'll probably hear 101 Dalmatians, 101, 100 and 101, 101, 101.
When I'm
That's a
watching
little
American
fun tidbit.
sports, yeah, American sports will be like, you went from 0 to 100 real fast.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, yeah, not everybody says that. And if you prefer, 100 is completely fine. 100 is a little more natural. And 100, if you live in Texas and you need to blend in with the rest of the people.
There you go.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Man, this was a great episode, although I really do hope that I'm not on the verge of getting sick just from one tickle in my throat. Thank you so much. We really have loved reading all your messages. We love to hear from you. And it's nice to see some comments from people a few times a week, every other week. We're starting to notice your names, and we're really so thankful for all the lovely comments and all of the kind words. A lot of people are really enjoying this method of teaching, and we love teaching it. So we're very passionate about what we do, and we'd love to hear from you. So again, let us know in the comments how things are going, and we'll respond. We'll write back to you.
Yeah, I'd love to hear any different home remedies that you have from your country or your culture.
Oh, yeah.
Because when I talk to my students about this, I always hear of some new remedy, some fruit or some herbs or some kind of traditional treatment. I really like hearing those things. So yeah, if there's a cool or unique home remedy that you do from your part of the world, let us know. Tell us what it is, and we'd love to hear it. Thank you very much, everyone. We will see you very soon for another episode. Thank you very much for watching, another long one, and we will see you again very soon. Thank you.